Okay, looks like it's recording. All right, thank you so much for doing this for us. First of all, I want you to introduce yourself and kind of tell how long you've been doing CPS cases.
Okay. I'm DeAndrea Petty. I have been doing CPS cases as an attorney for about, I guess, a year and a half now. I started off only being the parent's attorney, and then I took the courses that I needed to be an ad litem. So I've probably only been an ad litem for children for maybe a little over a year.
Okay, so what kind of training did you have to do to be able to represent kids?
So I had to do a CLE course online that tailored to juvenile ad litem and child protective service ad litem cases. So the CLE focused on how to represent a child, how to understand figuring out their best interest, while also trying to work with the parents and the parents' attorney. So it was just being in that mindset that no matter how nice a parent is or how terrible I think a parent may be, it's still in the best interest of the child. So if they work their services, if the child is wanting to go home and it's feasible and safe for them to do so, then it taught me how to look at that and look past what I think. And it also helped me with, there are some kids who they just love their parents, but having to explain to them why they can't go home at that moment.
Okay.
And then, of course, oh, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, how are you chosen for appointment to a child in a CPS case?
So most counties have, the judges have a will, and so they, I don't know, they have a will, and so after so many cases, they put you on the next case. I would say right now I may have 20 or so CPS cases, and I'm only the child's attorney on maybe 3. So it's just how that wheel turns, and where other attorneys are that may be ad litems. If the normal ad litems are already parents' attorneys, then I'll be placed on as ad litem also.
Okay. So how is your role as the attorney ad litem different from the role of the CASA volunteer as the guardian ad litem?
So as the attorney, I look more at I guess, the law. It really, it's not really that big of a difference. We're both looking at the best interest of the child. I just have to come from what the code says. Well, CASA gets to be more of the, this is what the child is saying. I'm speaking for the voice of the child, where I'm speaking from the legal voice. So that's technically the only difference, is you all get to just be the voice, and I'm the voice as well as the legal side of it.
Okay. So is there an age at which the attorney is obligated to represent the child's wishes?
No, whatever the child tells us. Now I could be wrong. Another attorney might say, "Yeah, it's this," but my understanding is that whatever the child tells me, I'm to tell the judge. Now, as the attorney, if there isn't a CASA, I tell the judge what the child wants, but I then revert over to the law and what's the best interest. If there's a CASA advocate, then CASA just gets to give what they want, and then I can kind of bounce off of it and tell the judge. I have to explain to children, no matter what their ages are. It's a little harder when they're under 5, but over 5 and up, you can kind of explain to them, this is what you want, but this is the law. I found it easier now. I babysit my younger cousin who's 3, that watching cartoons, and being able to put cartoons over for them to understand little episodes has worked a lot. So it doesn't matter the age, it's just being able to say what they want and hoping that the law will agree with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So how often are you required to see the child?
I would say at least maybe 2 times a month. I don't always get to do that. So I try to call as often as I can. If there is, and I guess this is terrible to say, but if there's a CASA rep, it's a little more flexible for me because CASA is so great with giving me an update and saying, hey, this is what's going on. But I would say about 2 times a month, some kind of contact with them.
Okay. And what kind of contact do you like to have with the CASA volunteer?
I like to be able to talk to them as much as I can talk to my client, whether that's over the phone, whether it's email, whether it's in person. Because CASA, from what I can see, and it could be just me not seeing it correctly, but CASA really goes out and talks to the kids. And when I can't, CASA can go to the classrooms, go wherever during the times that I'm in court. And so when I can call, they send me an email of an update that it really helps me and it makes my day because I know someone can step up when I can't. So I like to have that either telephone. I like to talk too much, so I like to talk on the phone. But telephone and email.
Okay. All right. So do you get a copy of the court report that the CASA volunteer does before each hearing?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So what's the most important information to you in that CASA report?
The most important information is what CASA sees in terms of the child and the parent. And the reason I say that is a lot of times when you're the parent's attorney, they will tell you, when I say to tell you, we will tell the attorney at Lighten for the Child, the good things about the parents. And, we'll say, yeah, they did this, but where CASA gets to go in, they talk to the child, they talk to the place, and they talk to the parents. And so in their report, you get a well-rounded summary of what everybody is doing, what's going on. So it helps me if I'm the child's attorney to say, this is what CASA is saying, but this is what the parent's attorney told me. And I'm going to lean more to CASA because CASA has that ability most of the time to talk to all parties. So I get a better view of everything when I'm the child's attorney.
Okay.
And really any position.
Okay. So let's talk now about attorneys representing parents because you do that as well. And so on one case you may represent a child, and the next case with the same volunteer you're representing a parent. So you're doing two different jobs. How does a parent get a court-appointed attorney? Explain that process to them.
So usually it all depends. Some parents have their adversary hearing before they're ever appointed an attorney. If there's an emergency hearing, then once they go before the judge in whatever county, they can let the judge know that they think that they're indigent. The judge will give them an application to fill out for a court-appointed attorney. If they meet the requirements, they're then given a court-appointed attorney. If it's before the adversary hearing, then they get our information. We can talk to them and try to figure out a way to keep the child from being removed. If it's after, then we're working the process of how to get the child back. But all they have to do is fill out an application, let the judge give it to the judge, and let him determine if they need an attorney or not.
Okay. So how do attorneys for parents feel about the CASA volunteers?
Um, I would say they feel good about them. CASA you can get to a lot quicker than other attorneys. So if we have a question that we can't get the child's attorney to give us an answer to, but we know if we email CASA, CASA is more than likely going to be able to give us an update. So I think when it comes to knowing what the child wants and getting information on how the child is doing, then we have a good relationship. I haven't had an issue with CASA, so for me, everything is great.
All right, so we train our volunteers that they have to ask permission before they can speak with a parent. They have to ask permission from their attorney. Do you always give permission for CASA to talk to your client?
I will. I sometimes I'm a little slower than I should be. Usually I will send an email because usually I'm asked via email unless we're in person at court, and I will let them know I'm going to ask my client. If my client is comfortable talking to CASA without me, then I always give permission. If my client says, I don't want to talk to anybody without you ever, then I'll let CASA know, if you'll call me and have me in the loop. But most of the time, because I know CASA is just looking at the best interest of the child, I do, unless my client requests otherwise.
Okay. So what do you tell your clients about CASA? When you explain to them what their role is, what do you tell them and what do you tell them to expect from the CASA?
So I tell them that CASA is there to be a secondary voice for the child. And I say secondary because a lot of times I already have an attorney. And so that'll confuse my clients sometimes with why do they need two voices. But I'll explain to them, they want to make sure they have a good understanding of what's going on. They're going to ask you questions probably about how your services are going, how are you? And I just explained to them it's another set of eyes and ears to help make a decision of the best interest of their child. And most of the time they are okay with it. I do let them know, CASA is just like any other person in this case. They're going to tell the judge what you tell them. So be honest. If there's something that you don't understand or something that you feel like I don't want CASA to know, then just let them know I'm going to speak to my attorney first. And so most of the time they're okay with that. They want their kids back. So when you tell them CASA is another voice for your child to say, I want to come home, then they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll talk to them. So.
Okay. So if a parent is facing criminal charges, do you represent them in that criminal case as well?
Sometimes I do. If they have a criminal case and they know about it before they're given a court-appointed attorney, if they qualify for a court-appointed attorney, they can ask usually it's going to be a felony, so they can ask judge, any judge, I won't say any names, but whatever county they're in, they can ask that judge if their CPS attorney can be their felony attorney. That's usually helpful because we can tell the felony attorney what's going on with the case. We can tell the CPS attorney what's going on with the felony so that it balances out. However, sometimes people say, no, I want a separate attorney. They'll hire someone, or they'll just get a court-appointed attorney, someone different, and those attorneys will reach out to us. And so we tend to still work together.
Okay. All right. Is there anything that you would like to tell the CASA volunteers to never do? What should a CASA volunteer never do?
I've never had a CASA volunteer do it, but this is just something that I've even learned just as an attorney at LIDA, is don't promise the kids an outcome. Don't promise them they're going home or promise them that they're going to a new placement, because one thing I've learned with CPS is that people mess up. Whether that's the parents, whether it's the caseworker, can't get things moving as fast, or placements change their mind. The more, I guess, possibility the kids have, the better they are than thinking, yeah, I'm going home because, you know, I bonded with the cops, I bonded with my attorney, and they're telling me this and I trust them. So only give them a promise when we know it's happening that day.
Okay, that is good advice. I appreciate that. So is there any message that you want to share with the CASA volunteers? That's all the questions I have, but is there anything that you think it's important for our new volunteers to know about any of it, about the CPS process, about the court process, about interaction with attorneys?
I guess my message would be everybody is human. I've had, and I guess this is more what I tell my clients, because people think that's the judge or that's the attorney and I can't just go talk to them. Most of the time, we're pretty friendly. We all kind of have bad days some days, so please forgive us on those days, but feel free to just come up and talk to us. Let us know if you have any questions or issues. Court really is just like a big meeting room. So it's not as, I guess, it's not as I have to sit and just be completely quiet and watch. It's not that nerve-wracking. Each, depending on if you do multiple counties, just sit back and kind of watch how each county does. Some counties are a lot more lax than the others, but just come in knowing you're coming to help the child. Make that known, which you don't have to make it. We know what you're doing. I would say one thing is you're going to have parents who are, I guess lack of better words, can be butts. They're going to be rude. Don't take it to heart. Continue doing what you have to do. If you can't get a parent to cooperate, see if their attorney can help you, and just keep you're doing this because you want to help children get the best outcome in life. And if you just keep that at the forefront of your mind and move forward, it'll be great. There's nothing too hard with helping kids.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, DeAndrea. I appreciate it. And I know that our new volunteers will look
Yes.
with you. And we appreciate all your good advice and all of the work that you do for our kids. So thank you so much. And we'll be seeing you in court.
All righty.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.